Welcome to Real Judaism with Rabbi Klapper. Unfiltered wisdom for Jewish life.
I know this is the last share of the Zman, but we are going to be starting now a new topic, and hopefully we'll carry through in Elu and in Chorev Zman on this. We're going to be starting a little bit of a different sefer. This is a new sefer. It came out not so long ago. In English, it's called From Boys to Men. In Hebrew, it's called Ze'akot Godel Yeh. It's written by Dr. Shlomi Zimmerman, and it deals with many of the inyanim that we have been discussing till now, and there's certain ideas in the way he brings them over. So I'm going to use this as the springboard to discuss many of the topics and maybe try to bring a lot of practical things out from what he writes. So let's begin. Many of the things that we have discussed may be repeated over here, but it's kedai still with regards to the inyanim of shmiras einayim and all the things that are connected to shmiras einayim. Right? We're calling it shmiras einayim, right? But really, shmiras einayim is just the starting point for a bigger issue, a much bigger story than just what a person looks at. There are the things that are going on in a person's mind. There are the changes in the body. There are the drives that the body has. All of these things make up what the struggles of the average man, not even just man, the average boy from the time he already started puberty. These are all the struggles that a normal person has. A normal person has these struggles. And therefore, it's kedai to hear and to know what we can do about it. What can we do practically? We've discussed in the past many of the hashkafas. I do believe that if a person understands the hashkafas better, then they will also understand practically how to do things better as well. When we understand what the Yetzer Hara is, we see what the Yetzer Hara is, then we'll be able to beat the Yetzer Hara. Chazal bring that the Yetzer Hara is like a listim mezuyin, is like a bandit sitting on the crossroads, and everybody that passes by, the bandit scares them, and because of that, the bandit takes everything from them. And this one person passes by and he jumps out. The Yetzer Hara jumps out. This bandit jumps out. And he looks so scary, right? But when the guy who's being scared says, "Yo, you're gonna do everything I say. You're gonna do," he looks at it and he notices that he has no legs. He doesn't have any legs. This guy, So he takes a stick and starts beating him up. What is the nimshal? The nimshal is that the Yetzer Hara looks all scary. The Yetzer Hara looks all big. But if you look carefully at the Yetzer Hara, you understand the Yetzer Hara, you'll see that doesn't have anything to stand on. You just have to reveal him. You have to reveal him. Chazal tell us, that it says in the Torah. It says in the Torah that Yaakov Avinu fought the sorrow shel Esav. The sorrow of Esav, the angel of Esav, who also, perhaps, according to at least one side, is also the Satan, also the Yetzer Hara, and also, and Yaakov Avinu asked the Sar Shel Esav. He asked him, "What's your name?" And what did he answer? What did the Sar Shel Esav answer? "Why are you asking me? What are you asking me? Why what my name is?" What was he saying? What was the Sar Shel Esav saying? Why are you asking me my name? Right? The Sar Shel Esav basically was saying, I don't have a name. I'm everything. I'm anything that's going to get you. Sometimes I was like this, sometimes I like that. Sometimes I'm going to turn into this, and sometimes I'm going to turn into that. And I'm going to do anything that I possibly can to get you. But you know what? If you really look carefully, you'll see that I'm really nothing. You really see that there's nothing really there. That's what the Gemara says in Masechus Sukkah, that La'asid Lavo HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to shech the Yetzer Hara. And the tzaddikim are going to be there, and the rishaim are going to be there. And the tzaddikim are going to be crying, and the rishaim are going to be crying. The tzaddikim are going to see this huge mountain, and they're going to cry, how were we able to overcome this huge mountain? And the rishaim are going to be crying because they see this little hair. And they can say, well, we couldn't beat this little hair. This one little hair, that's what was stopping us? What do you mean? Is the Yetzer Hara big mountain, or is the Yetzer Hara little hair? Which one is it? Well, the Yetzer Hara can be both. He can be the little hair and he can be the big mountain. So a big tzaddik, like we know, that if a person has difficulties, but he's a big person, his difficulties are going to be even harder. A rasha, he's on a lower level, below level of Bechira is much lower. So he's going to be what? I couldn't beat this Yetzer Hara, I couldn't beat it. One of the main things is we have to recognize the Yetzer Hara. We have to see what the Yetzer Hara is. And when we recognize him, we'll know, hey, wait a second, he's really not so big. He's not so big. But besides for that, there's certain methods that we can use to also beat the Yetzer Hara. Right? There are a few different methods that we're going to be bringing up. One method is recognize what this is. Recognize it. Let's give you an example. Let's give an example of the first type. Call out the Yetzer Hara for what it is, right? So let's use the following example. Let's say you go into the bank. Going to the bank is because you need to do something at the bank. And you sit down with somebody, a banker, and it happens to be a pretty girl. And she's talking all nice because that's how they teach you to do that, so that you'll get customers, right? You'll get customers, right? Let's make this even better. This is in America. It's in America. And the person you're sitting down opposite is a goy. Yeah? Is a goya that you're sitting down. Some goyish woman who's really like, she's being all sweet and whatever. And she's helping you with everything, and she's complimenting you. So, like, how would we call out the Yetzer Hara? What would we use seichel? Like, think for a second. Is this really no gay at all? Does it really make sense? Like, think about it for a second. Am I going to marry this person? No way. There's no way I'm marrying this person. There's no way that I'm going to have anything to do with her after I walk out of the bank. Right? So what am I gaining over here? Well, think about it for a second. Is there a point to all this? If you think about that, maybe even before you walk in, you'll realize that, like, it's only going to hurt me. It's not going to help me. And there's no real tachlis to it. None. I'm not getting anything out of this. I'm only hurting myself. So here's a form of going in with an understanding that the Yetzer Hara is fake. He's fake. He's giving you something that's not real. So this is one method of realizing that, hey, what am I doing? That's taking the Yetzer Hara out. That's one method. Another method is, in a way, the opposite. The opposite is, I'm not misyaches to it at all. I ignore the whole thing completely. In other words, if I have some kind of urge, or some kind of, push towards an aveira, just get involved with something else. Right? This is the classic example is if we tell you, don't think about pink elephants blowing bubbles. Nobody right now think about pink elephants blowing bubbles, right? So then it's like all of a sudden now you're thinking about the pink elephants blowing bubbles, right? Because I told you not to. I told you not to think about it, right? And now I have to fight my brain. Stop thinking about that. No, there's a much better way of doing it. Sometimes people have a song stuck in their head. And this song just keeps playing again and again in their head, I can't get this song out of my head. It's driving me crazy. How do I get that song out of my head? What do I do? You don't say, just get out. You don't do that. You know what you do? Start singing a different song. That's what you do. Get a different song in your head. You don't like that song? Different song. So it's the same thing over here. You know how you get that pink elephant blowing bubbles out of your head? Start thinking about the lime green giraffe who's running a marathon, right? All of a sudden, now I'm thinking about that instead of thinking about this. I'm changing my mind, and my mind is now on something else. When you shift your mind, so now all of a sudden, I'm not thinking about that, the first thing anymore, because I am thinking about the second thing. Now people are thinking about this race between the pink elephant and the green giraffe, and they're having a race, and right, you have both of them in your head now. Wow, this is mama's crazy. The more a person can change their mind, just don't think about it. Ignore it. Think about something else. Actively think about something else. When I'm actively thinking about something else, so then I'm not thinking about this anymore. That's a way to avoid. And really, the third one is avoiding in the first place. We have to do our best to stay away from places that cause us problems. If we know there are places that are going to be causing us problems, so then we shouldn't go to those places. Those places are either physical places, which means don't go to this and this mall or event or whatever, or it could be places like atarim, sites, websites. Those places are also going to cause me problems. Don't go to those places. We have to avoid the Yetzer Hara as best as we can as well. If I know that there are going to be certain places that are going to awaken my Yetzer Hara, and I know that I'm going to be seeing things, so what am I doing? Why am I going there in the first place? So these are the three, let's say, general categories of ways of trying our best to overcome a nisayon, which is very normal. It's very natural. Person is 100% normal. Just today, I was reading a story in the Yetzer Hara in Enu about, I believe it was about Rabbi Klapper, who was being taken somewhere by, I don't know, it was a boch or an abrech, and he was told, Rabbi Klapper said, don't go this way, go a different way, go around, because there's a lot of pritzus in that neighborhood, so don't drive through that neighborhood. And the bocher said, oh, don't worry, I'm okay. Doesn't affect me. So Rabbi Klapper said, tell me, what's your name? Tell me your name and your mother's name so I can daven for you. If it doesn't affect you, it must mean that you're sick. You're a sick person, because if you're a healthy person, it would affect you. It would. It must be that you're sick. So I'll daven for you. This is a normal Yetzer Hara. There are people who have a not regular Yetzer Hara. People who have a not regular Yetzer Hara have a different avodah. They also have an avodah. People who have a different Yetzer Hara also have a very important avodah. And their avodah is a little bit more unique. And their avodah is certainly maybe even a little bit more challenging than the regular one, which we find to be so difficult. Right? This shir is not about that. Maybe a different time, somewhere else, we'll talk about such a thing, but that's not for this shir. But we should understand what the average man has. What the average man has is 100% normal. 100% normal. Okay, so as a hagdama, let's begin. Okay, I saw it in the Sefer today. I saw it in the last few days as well. When it comes to bechira, when it comes to free will, free choice, free will, the main place where a person has free will is specifically in the derech that they choose. In other words, a lot of times a person feels stuck. A person feels that I can't do it, right? When a person feels stuck and a person feels I can't do it, so the reason for that, the main reason that they feel that way is because they've chosen in the first place that they are not ready to take on this challenge. Meaning like this. The first thing that a person has to do is choose his derech. Depending on the derech that they choose, that's where the nisyonos are going to be. If a person is purposely choosing a derech that will have these nisyonos for sure all the time, so then he knows that he's going to have to deal with it. But a person can choose to not be on that derech in the first place. That is where your ikar choice is. A person who has given up on that ikar choice has lost his ability to truly choose. He thinks that I can't choose to do this. I have to be this way. I have to be the other way. Let's give a very practical example of this. Very practical. Yeah. We live today in a world where there's a lot of social media. We live today in this world where people are all connected with WhatsApp, email, certainly social media, and all these the likes, these things, right? We live in that world, and the person says, "Well, that's the world. That's where I live, and therefore I have to deal with all these nisyonos." A person actually has the ability to decide, "No, I don't want that." And when a person decides that, they put themselves on a different maslul. They put themselves on a different derech. When a person says, I have to be here, I have to be in this world, then they've given up that choice. And now they will have those nisyonos. So the first step is, which derech am I on? Which maslul am I on? Am I on the maslul where I'm going to have these nisyonos? Or I'm on a maslul that will be much less? When it comes to Shmiras Einayim, anybody at any point in time can have these nisyonos. That's for sure. But the difference of the amount and the difference of the intensity of the nisayon could be tremendously different depending on where they decide I want to be. Where is my life? Where do I really want to be? And if a person is not sure, or if a person is scared for parnasa or whatever, then they should speak to their rabbanim. They should speak to their mentors in order to work out for themselves what is the best way. I can guarantee you that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants for you the best. Just like the people in America many years ago when they had to struggle to keep Shabbos. If you kept Shabbos, you lost your job. That was a tremendous nisayon. Tremendous nisayon. So what am I supposed to do? I'm not going to keep Shabbos. Shabbos is the makor bracha. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the people who kept Shabbos and did it out of love of Hashem, they ended up better. The families ended up better. Everything ended up better. The people who were Machal Shabbos, many of them were lost to Yiddishkeit forever. And their families were lost to Yiddishkeit forever. And they ended up in a better place. So who ends up with the bracha and who ends up not with the bracha? So a person has to decide. Yes, it's a tremendous nisayon. And certainly when it comes to parnasa, what do you mean? How can I have parnasa if I don't have fill in the blank? If I don't have an account on Facebook? If I don't have an account on Instagram? If I don't have a smartphone? If I don't have, how am I going to have parnasa? How am I going to do it? How am I going to have parnasa? It's just like the Jews who said, well, if I don't work on Shabbos, how am I going to have parnasa? These are tremendous nisyonos, and people see all the time. They see all the time that I keep falling. I keep having the same issues again and again, and I'm unable to do it. And I've given, unfortunately, people have given up. That's sad. If you're here listening to this year, it means you're having up. It means you keep fighting, you keep working. Just that itself should give a person chizuk. Just being here, listening to this year, is saying, I'm a person who this is important to me. And even if it's hard for me, but because it's important to me, you should feel proud. That's already, I'm choosing that. But a person should realize your choices all have an effect on each other. A person's going to choose from the very beginning. What am I doing? It's very, very difficult to fix something that's broken. Better that it shouldn't get broken in the first place. Once it broke, to fix it is much, much harder. It's a much harder thing to do. So a person from the very beginning should try their best to do things the right way. Everybody has an opportunity to restart their lives when they get married. But the truth of the matter is that when you, even getting married, you have to be coming in with a certain derech. How am I going to live? What do I want my life to be like? What do I want? Where do I want my she'ifas to be? All of those things are going into marriage. So yes, you can decide when you're getting married to restart your life and I'm starting fresh. You do have that opportunity, but don't think that everything from your past isn't going in. It is. So the best time to start is before that. So this way, when you start fresh, and now I'm starting my life, and I'm not dependent on anybody else. I'm the one who decides what comes into my home. Well, your wife does also. And you're going to be choosing your wife, right? So you better choose the wife who is on the same page as you, that you agree about what's going to be coming into your home. You agree about what kind of home that you want. So you can restart. That, all of those choices, that free will that a person has, can be already and should be already way before. A person should choose that already. Realize, I do have the choice. I do have the ability. The Torah tells us, lo sachmod. Lo sachmod means you shouldn't want. I can hold back from stealing, but you tell me I don't want? How could you not want? I can turn on my emotions. I don't want it. All of these things, this type of thing, of lo sachmod, which is a good example of this. Kina. How do I not have kina? Really, these things start way before that. They start based on a masnu. Where is my derech? What path am I going on? And if I'm on a path where these things aren't important to me, so then I'm not going to be jealous. There's a story that I think it was Rav Steinman, that there was a really rich guy who wanted to buy a really fancy car. I don't remember what kind of car it was. A Rolls Royce, I don't know, some kind of super fancy Lamborghini, I don't know. Some really, really fancy car. Really like showy and everything. And his wife was like, no, it's going to be Yetzer Hara. People are going to be jealous of us. I don't want it. So they decided they're going to go ask Rav Steinman. Right? An interesting shayla to go ask Rav Steinman. Right? This is how I heard the story. They asked Rav Steinman, is it okay if we buy this car? We're scared maybe of Yetzer Hara. We're scared, people are going to be jealous of us. Can we buy the car? So Rav Steinman asks him, let me ask you a question. How many times have you finished Shas? Like, what does that have to do with the car? I don't know, but yeah. He said, I never finished Shas. I said, oh, you never finished Shas? Well, how many Masechtas have you finished? He said, I haven't finished any Masechtas. It's like, so he said, Steinman said to him, I don't see why there's any reason to be jealous of you. What's there to be jealous of? What do you have? A car? Why would you be jealous of a car? Right? You don't have anything to be jealous of. What do you see over here? You see that they're two completely different maslulim, two different drachim. Steinman looks at this person. His derech is meaningless. So why would anybody be jealous of somebody who's on a meaningless derech? His path is leading nowhere. Would you be jealous of a guy whose path leading over a cliff? You see a guy driving down the road, and you know that road it doesn't lead anywhere. It goes over the cliff. Anybody who drives down that road is going to be dead. But it looks like he's so happy he's driving his Lamborghini. Are you jealous of the guy who's driving the Lamborghini off the cliff? Is there like a reason to be jealous of that person? Right? It sounds silly. Why would I be jealous of that person? You're the one who chooses what derech you're going on. You're the one who makes that choice. That's the first and main choice. Rishoim say, I don't have a choice. Rishoim say, I am the way I am. That's Esav. I am the way I am. I was put in this derech, was put on this path, and that's the way I am. That's how Rishoim act. And that's why they feel they don't have bechira. They feel they don't really have a free choice. It's what do you expect from me, God? You were the one who made me like this. You have a choice. You could choose, what is my derech? So when a person chooses a derech that will keep him away from the Yetzer Hara, he chooses a derech that will bring him more davok to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, he'll have different nisyonos. His nisyonos will be different. Will they be easy? No, not necessarily. They won't be easy. Everybody has their set of nisyonos for them. But will the person be in a much better place? Yeah, it'll be a much better place, a much happier place, a much stronger place, a much more meaningful place. He won't be worried about everybody being jealous of him driving off the cliff, right? He won't have to be worried about that. And such a person is a different set of nisyonos. So that's really the first step. The first step is, let's make a choice. My choice is, I want to do the best possible thing that I can do to be the best me. That's what I want to choose. There might be sacrifices that come with that. There might be a lot of sacrifices and difficulties that come with that type of change, but it's worth it. I have to think about it beforehand. I have to realize what I'm getting myself into, because if you don't, then you might just lose the whole thing. If you don't realize you're making a choice, but you don't realize you're really choosing, then ultimately you might come back and say, like, no, I'm not interested in this. That's why a person needs to really think about it and stop and think about, like, what do I want? What do I want for my life? Do I want a life of fulfillment, even though it's going to be hard work and I'm going to be like, like some people call me a caveman. You're a caveman, Klapper, right? Right? You'd probably be happier in 18th century Lithuania. Somebody said to me one time. Yeah, you'd probably be happier in 18th century Lithuania. I'm like, well, it could be, maybe. What does that mean? It means that I'd be happier without the nisayon. I'd be happier without the tests. I'd be happier just being able to serve Hashem without those difficulties, because it would be a much more fulfilling, meaningful life, and I would actually be doing what I'm supposed to be doing on this planet, what Hashem brought me here for. When a person chooses to do that, they're going to be much happier. They're going to be much better place. But it is sacrifice. You are giving up. There's no question that it's not going to be the same, and it's going to be it's going to be hard. There are going to be hard parts. But at the end, you'll be a much happier person, for sure. For sure. So, this is the first step. Let's make our choices. We are choosing. You know what I'm choosing? I'm choosing to. Now, each person has to put it in. I'm choosing to what? Is there going to be hard things? Yeah. One guy, I heard this story. One guy said, coupled having shalom bias problem. One of the things the wife said that she wanted him to do was to get rid of your smartphone. Get rid of your smartphone. And he said, getting rid of my smartphone would be by like cutting off my arm. That's what he said. You're asking me to cut my arm off. Really? And you didn't know that the smartphone actually grows from your side. A person have 3 arms, right? But that's how, really, he's not the only one, I'm sure. For the person that I heard actually say like that, but there are people who say like that. They view this is not an option. It is not an option at all. Okay, so maybe what is an option? Maybe an option is a better filter, or a filter at all. Maybe to cut off social media, or maybe a little bit at a time. There are definitely people out there that have done that a little bit at a time. One thing, one step at a time. I can't get rid of my smartphone. Okay, so where can we make a step in the right direction? You know what? A person might say, I really want to get rid of my smartphone. I really do. I want to get rid of it. I just can't. It's too hard for me. It'll be too much, and I'm just going to go right back to it. I can't do it. It's like quitting smoking. You say, that's it. I'm not having not one more cigarette. 10 minutes later, the guy's smoking, right? So what happened to you? It's just too hard. Okay, so let's do a little baby steps. Okay, what can we do? Can we get rid of Facebook? Can you do that? Can you get rid of a different social media site? Can you get rid of even one? Can you get rid of one? And then we start with steps. If you can get rid of one, see how it goes. We got rid of one. Then maybe a little bit later, we can get rid of a second one. And then maybe a little bit later, we can get rid of the third one. And then maybe a little bit after that, we can get rid of other apps that are wasting your time and are destroying your life. We can get rid of YouTube. We can get rid of Spotify. We can get rid of, but what am I going to do now? What am I going to, every step of the way needs a cheshbon, but that's a choice. You're choosing. You're saying, I want a different life. I want to be different. I don't want to, this is killing me. All of these things are ruining my life. I want to change. So how do I do it? Just taking the whole thing and throwing it in the garbage? I can't. I know myself. I can't do it. What am I supposed to do? I can't live like this either. That's why, to get specific instructions a little bit at a time. Take little baby steps, but be on top of it. Or if you can't be on top of it, ask somebody else to help you. Something like this might need hadracha. You might need somebody to come along and say, or you're not coming along. You're going to them and you're saying to them, I need help. I really want to get rid of this and this and this. I know it's not good for me, but I'm having a hard time. I want your help. And then we make a plan. And then we try to follow up on the plan because it's serious. Anytime you want to seriously do something, you have to be serious about it. You have a project that you want to do, you got to be serious about your project. And a big part of this also is, that we don't have to be thinking about this all the time. I did it. Now I'm going to move on. And I'm going to live my life. I'm going to find other things to use my time for, better things to use my time for. And I'm going to keep busy. When I keep busy with other things, I don't even notice. I don't even notice that I didn't have this thing. Something that used to take up 2-3 hours of my day every single day, I don't even notice anymore. It's not going to be on the first time. It's not going to be the first day. It's not going to be like that. And the first day, you're going to notice it. In the first week, you're going to notice it. The first 2 weeks, you're going to notice it. But slowly, it's going to be less. A little bit less. And then, when it comes up again, all of a sudden, it's like a shock. Well, sometimes we go back and forth. Sometimes they're 2 steps back. That's part of the process, a little bit at a time. And then a person really can change, but it has to first start, like I said, it has to first start in the mindset. What is my mind? What is my mindset? What is my derech? What do I want? That a person can choose. He might not be able to choose it right this second, say, okay, I don't want this anymore, and I'm going to stop right away. That might not work. But a person can train themselves a little bit at a time, and they'll see over time they're actually a different person. Totally different. And that doesn't mean there aren't going to be falls along the way. The falls along the way are a normal part of the growth. It's part of it. So when it happens, don't be too worried about it. It happens, we just pick ourselves up and we keep going. That's part of the process. We can expect it going in. Okay, I'm going to stop over here. Very good. Go ahead.
Thank you for joining Real Judaism, where we explore Torah's wisdom for real life. Created by J Foundations and produced by Ellie Podcast Productions. Find more episodes at realjudaism.org and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.